This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Blissed? Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're delighted you're here, broadcasting from Studio A, high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. Alex is producing the broadcast, and boy, did we miss you, Dr. Shealy.
Well, sorry about that, Vince. Unfortunately, Julie wasn't available while I was gone either, but I had a ball.
Well, I understand that you were doing some extensive, exhaustive research in Alaska. How are the salmon?
Well, the salmon are wonderful. I brought back only 60 pounds of fillets of salmon and halibut.
Mm-hmm.
But I also did a workshop for 2 days and had visits with wonderful friends up there, and so it was a blast.
Well, we're so glad you're back, safe and sound. And I trust you just had an absolutely wonderful time. Would you like to share with us some of the things that you did?
Well, I've been up there 4 times now, and so it's like visiting family, and really friendly family. Mm-hmm. But I flew all the way across the Kenai Peninsula, and I've never done that before, and we landed on 3 different little lakes for fishing. And, I mean, it is, Alaska is indeed one of the most majestic places in the world. It's like 1,000 times the size of Switzerland,
mm-hmm.
and at least just as grandiose. Went crabbing on the seashore, sailing on the Kenai River, not sailing, boating, and then of course did my 2-day workshop on Bliss and all the Bliss oil certification. So that was really fun.
Well, that's really neat. Dr. Shealy, I'd like to share this with our class. You and I do not prepare for this class.
Some people might say that's obvious, but that's okay. We have fun.
We do. And sometimes the preparation will be, what would you like to talk about, or what should we talk about, or what's of interest, and it might be one sentence. And the sentence that I received from Dr. Shealy was genetic plasticity. So, of course, I looked that up, and you're going to have to help us, Dr. Shealy.
Well, for many, many, many decades, people thought that, you got a set of genes and that's it. You can't do anything. You're stuck with them.
Right, right.
Over the last decade or so, we have learned something called now epigenetics, which really means that genes are changeable. And there are many, many, many things that can change genes. And we can pass on the changes that are made in our genes by our attitudes, our behaviors, our habits, and we can personally change or improve or actually make worse our genes depending upon all of our habits. So I think it's really important to know that. You're not stuck necessarily with the genetic lottery. You can change the expression of the genes. You've got the genes, But whether they're turned on or off is really dependent upon everything else, such as your diet, your physical activity, your thinking from day to day, your whether or not you sleep adequately. I mean, everything affects everything. And the reason I just wrote one of my little newsletters on this, it came out today, is the latest study of a group of fatso men who agreed to go to a gym 3 times a week for 6 months. Well, they actually only made it 1.8 times a week, but after 6 months, 7,000 of 2,000 genes had been upgraded, improved.
Mm.
So just modest exercise can improve or help the positive plasticity of your genes.
So, Dr. Shealy, when we learned about Darwin's theory of evolution, are we saying that it's true through conditions, through environment, through, as you said, exercise and our habits, that we can evolve and become more adapted to our environment?
Unequivocally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we never know unequivocally what the dominant genetic pattern is going to be in a given person. But let's look at my father, because, my father was a really good man. Both of my parents were good people. My father's one unhealthy habit was smoking. And, he grew up in a time when we didn't really know much about that. His father died when he was 10 years old. He was the eldest of 6 sons, and he quit school to go to work to help support his family. And he started smoking at the same time at age 10. He became a very successful businessman, ate well, but smoked. Had his first heart attack at 48 years of age, was totally hooked in smoking, and died at age 53 of his third heart attack.
Wow.
5 of 6 brothers all died between 48 and 54 years of age.
Mm.
All of them smoked. Brother number 6, and I'm sure he was a brother. They all had the big ears. He died at age 80. He did not smoke, and he was thin. And so just the difference between smoking and being, absolutely perfect in weight made the difference of 26 or more years in his particular life. Obviously, I inherited the same potential for those genes, and they've got to be there. And I have never smoked. I have never been fat. I exercise a lot, and I'm 80. Now, that doesn't prove that everybody can do that despite the genetic background. But take my sister. I also had a sister who became very fat at 2.5 years of age and died at age 58 of obesity and complications thereof. I have at least 10 cousins on both sides of the family, all of whom have diabetes. They're all overweight. I'm not overweight. I don't have diabetes. So many, many diseases like coronary artery disease and diabetes, particularly those two big biggies, are influenced more by what we eat and how active we are than they are by genes.
Dr. Shealy, I see the same thing in our family. My mom is one of three, and her brother smoked, her sister smoked, and they died about 70 years old. My mom is 90, and she's still going strong. And my mom did not smoke. My mom had way better eating habits, way better, overall interest in health. And eating the right foods, raw foods and so forth, and raw vegetables and growing a garden. And her brother and sister didn't have the same interests. So although they were raised and ate homegrown foods when they were growing up, they changed their path, and they both picked up the habit of smoking and died, I think, earlier than they should have. So my mom is the oldest of the three, and the other two didn't make it past 70. So she's got 20 years on them. So I see that. And Dr. Shealy, we have a couple boys, and for years we would say to the boys, well, if you want to see what your girlfriend's going to look like if you were to marry that person, just look at their mom. Look at her mom. And now, it scared a few of the boys, or a few times they're like, "Uh-oh." But is that true? Is that true that a daughter will start to look like her mother, and in a lot of ways, or is that just overgeneralization?
Well, it is true to a certain extent, for sure. Mm-hmm. But it can be changed depending upon the individual habits. Let's face it. The habits that are going to affect your genes, as well as your health, as well as your longevity, are how you eat. Real food makes a difference, period. Mm-hmm. Smoking makes a big difference. Activity. It doesn't have to be a lot. 30 minutes, 5 days a week of just, a modest walk. Standing in place and bouncing in place. That's enough to improve your genes as well as your health and your longevity. And let us not forget sleep. Mm-hmm. People who don't sleep at least 7 hours a day on a regular basis don't live as long.
Well, Dr. Shealy, I try to sleep 7 or 8 hours a day. And I take vitamins and supplements, and I exercise, and I think it helps me with having more energy than many people who are of the same age. I really believe that, and I look at you, and man, you can run circles around those who are 80. Dr. Norman Shealy and I'll be right back. We're going to talk about something Dr. Shealy recommended to me. This. And Dr. Shealy, you and I have been talking about fleas and ticks and a way of coping with them. So yesterday, I was talking with Matt Jones. Matt Jones is the CEO of Cedarside. So I am really looking forward to applying Cedarside on our dogs and just stopping this tick problem, because so far it's really a problem. The tall grass, the rain that we've had here in the Ozarks, we have never had so many fleas and ticks, these little tiny ticks that are the size of a dot that you might make with a pencil. I'm not talking about a big tick. I'm talking about something that you can hardly see. So the dogs get hundreds of them on their coat a day. So I talked to Matt Jones. He's the CEO of Cedarside.com, and I'm looking forward to doing a semi-scientific evaluation on half of our animals, and the other half we won't do it with it. We won't do the evaluation. So just wanted to share that with you, Dr. Shealy, that you recommended Cedarside, and I'm looking forward to trying it.
Yeah, I would probably keep a little cloth in a plastic jar or a glass jar by the back door, and just rub down once or twice a day.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, that would be delightful to stop this, because what happens is the animals will come inside. We have protection animals that patrol the property, and then we have
protection animals the size of a baby calf. Yes.
You haven't seen TJ lately, Thomas Jefferson. He's an English Mastiff. He's well over 165 now, and he's 8 months old. He's turning out to be a really, really big boy. And, you know, when he would climb the stairs to go to the second floor at the farmhouse, and going up was easy, and going down was really easy. But then as he got bigger, he couldn't negotiate the steps until he got even bigger. Now he can go back down, because what was happening is the spacing of the steps just didn't work for him when he was just a little bit smaller. But now that he's grown a couple more inches, he can go up and down the stairs just fine. Interesting how that works. So I'm looking forward to testing Cedarside. Class, if you want to see what I'm talking about, cedarside.com. Dr. Shealy, there are wildfires in the West. And, you know, we look at the houses burning, the paint of the houses, the wiring, the plastics, and then there are those of us who have in our garages, we have motor oil and we have starting fluid. But those aren't my concerns, really. But my concerns are the insecticides. Because when I spent a couple weeks in Virginia, while you were in Alaska, I was in Virginia. And what I noticed in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is a suburb, almost a suburb of Washington, D.C., you can open the window at night and you don't hear the insects, the sounds of the insects. You might hear one or two or three at the most, but you don't hear those sounds that you hear at your farm, and I hear it at our farm here. And that's because the people who live in those developments, in those neighborhoods, spray their lawns to keep the bugs out. They use insecticides to stop the ants. And I think it's killed. That, and maybe the electromagnetic radiation, has killed so many of the insects that you don't hear them. Well, when we have wildfires and we burn these insecticides, is that a concern to you as it is to me?
Well, of course it is, because there was a study done 35 years ago at least, in which they released, God knows, stupidity, a little radioactivity in the area of Denver, and watched it, and within a few hours it was over St. Louis. And so when you get this stuff in the air, it goes everywhere, all over the earth.
Yeah, and that was a serious concern. And Dr. Shealy, I've never really been in a place where I've heard the absence of bugs the way I have in Fredericksburg, Virginia. They've paved almost everything. They really have. There are streets, there are driveways, there are parks, there are stores. It's paved more than you can imagine, and the animal life is gone to a great extent, and I find that alarming and concerning. I really do. When we come back, Dr. Shealy, can we talk about Fukushima and the radiation that is polluting our planet? Dr. Norman Shealy. We'll be right back. Class, you know that many of our instructors are very close to our family. I don't mean in miles, I mean in relationship. Dr. Shealy and the Dollarhite family and the Shayne family and many others. And I got a text from John Dollarhite, and the text read that there's a church that has about 400 members in the Springfield community. And as of last week, 54 of them have been diagnosed with some kind of a cancer. These are 2-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 40s, 50s. Cancer at 54 people in a church of 400 is extreme. Now, this is in, near Springfield, Missouri, so it's not like we're in a toxic environment here. It's not like we are, in the factory belt with billowing smokestacks and so forth. The reason I mention this, Dr. Shealy, is Fukushima At the top of the hour, there was a news report about Fukushima, and yeah, it's leaking, and you know, we said early on this broadcast, and Dr. Shealy, you've said it too, that this is like the worst possible thing that could happen. This radioactive, the failure, the leaks, the contamination of the water, the ground, the air from this General Electric manufactured nuclear reactor, a reactor for which the byproduct, the waste product, there is no solution. There is no solution to storing hazardous, toxic, lethal products that are a result of the nuclear reaction in these reactors. So Fukushima is now leaking, admittedly, millions and millions and millions of gallons of radioactive waste. It's ultimately ending up in the groundwater, on the ground, in the air, and in the ocean. 3 reactors have melted down. And it is the worst disaster that has ever happened by man to man. The worst. Dr. Shealy, what do we do?
Well, unfortunately, the idiots, and I'm being kind, who created nuclear energy have set the stage for this. You know, way back in 1961, I was actually in Australia at the time a book called On the Beach came out. Mm-hmm. It was later made into a movie, and it was about essentially the last little bit of civilization still surviving after a major nuclear catastrophe. So let's face it, the possibility has existed since the 40s when all this nonsense began that the whole world will be wiped out with nuclear energy. The best we can do for ourselves is be sure that we get enough iodine. The number one safety precaution you can take is to keep your thyroid from being destroyed, because it is the organ most sensitive to radioactive iodine. Not that there are not others, but it's the one, you know, at the top of the list. So right now, I think everyone, adult, should be taking an iodoral at least 2 or 3 times a week. If it gets worse, once a day. Children, you can buy a liquid iodine that contains 75 micrograms per drop. And for children under the age of 2, I would probably give a drop or 2 a day. Starting at age 2, I might increase the number of drops per year of life, so that by age 12, they might be getting 14 or 15 drops a day. We know that at least 1 milligram, essentially, or 1,000 micrograms a day is certainly safe for virtually everyone. We know that basically the Japanese are better protected from this kind of radiation than the rest of the world, because they average from their diet 13.8 milligrams of iodine a day, because they eat a lot of seaweed. Heaven knows I would stop eating seaweed yesterday if I lived over there. But that helps protect them for, you know, at least thyroid-wise. It still doesn't help the immune system. The immune system is, of course, the next thing that gets affected by nuclear waste, and that's what all of it is, nuclear waste. And so you do everything you can to keep your immune system strong. Obviously, that includes, first of all, avoiding junk food. Secondly, exercising well. Third, sleeping as well, well. But there are other supplements that I think everybody should be taking, especially at times like this. And of course, this is for the foreseeable future, because this is going to go away overnight. At the top of my list, of course, always, always, always is vitamin D3. 50,000 units once a week for all adults, 50,000 once a month for children starting at age 2, and by the time they're 18 or weighing 140 or 50 pounds, once a week. That's at the top of the list. Second, I suppose would still be K2. Vitamin K2 is one of the most important immune boosters, and although I ordinarily, for most adults, would recommend 100 micrograms, this is a time when I would recommend 15 milligrams. And you can get 15 milligram little capsules, and it's very, very, very safe to take. Third, I would recommend astaxanthin, Astaxanthin. And I've always, for a long, long time, recommended a minimum of 4 milligrams a day for adults. Now I would recommend 10 milligrams a day of astaxanthin. Personally, I would like most adults at least to be taking my youth formula 4 a day, which includes 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C and 1,000 milligrams of MSM and a couple of other things. Those are what I would consider the absolute basics in order to enhance immune function. If you want to go beyond that, I would take a few mushrooms, like reishi mushrooms and cordyceps. Those are the two of the strongest of the immune-enhancing mushrooms, and you can buy them in very nice supplements. And you can go to my archive newsletters on my website, and you'll find articles about them.
Dr. Shealy, this is so dangerous, and this could be a planet killer.
Yes.
We're talking about polluting the entire world's salt water supply. All the oceans of the world are connected, and this nuclear reactor, the meltdown of these 3 reactors, could be a planet killer. Class, I gave out the telephone number of the CEO of General Electric, Jeffrey Immelt. I actually called his office, and he was at a meeting, or I would have been put through. I'm going to try to call him today. I'm going to be doing some baling of hay right after the broadcast, but if I have an opportunity to get through, I will. I'm going to give you his number. You ready?
Got it.
203 203 373 2211. 203 373 2211. His name is Jeffrey Immelt. He's the CEO of General Electric. They are the ones who built the nuclear reactor, the nuclear reactors in Japan that have failed. My question is, who was sitting a mile offshore looking at the coastline of Japan and said, hey, what a great idea. Let's litter the coastline of Japan with nuclear reactors. Who thought of that? Who approved that? And who in the government approved that? They've polluted the entire planet. The entire planet. What's worse than that? 203-373-2211. Jeffrey Immelt. Dr. Shealy, let me make sure we've got this right. So 50,000 units of vitamin D3 once a week. Now, this is for adults. Vitamin K2, 15 milligrams per week. Shealy's Youth Formula. Now, how often do we take that, Dr. Shealy? Is that daily?
Daily, yeah. It's safe.
Daily.
That's the big. It helps wipe out also calcification in the soft tissues, such as arteries and around bones and places they don't belong. I mean, around joints, but places where they don't belong.
Okay. And then iodoral, you were talking about taking iodoral. Now, is that 12.5 milligrams a day? Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry.
Okay, iodoral, you were talking about the iodine.
Yes, one tablet is 12.5 milligrams, yes.
Okay, and that's once a day?
Yes.
Okay. And then, let's see. Then you suggested reishi mushrooms and cordyceps mushrooms if you want to go, beyond the minimum. And did I miss anything?
Yep.
Astaxanthin. Astaxanthin, 10 milligrams per day for adults.
Yes.
So those are the big ones. Well, class, I mean, seriously, this radiation will impact our immune system, and that's the beginning of our decline. So I think it's that serious. I think that if you can share this broadcast, and if you can get this on YouTube, I'd appreciate it, and share this with your friends and family, because it's that important. You just got the prescription for maintaining your health in the wake of the nuclear disaster, the worst thing that's ever happened by man to man, by General Electric. Dr. Shealy and I will be right back. I've got so many more questions for him. I'll share them with you, and Dr. Shealy always has the answers. We'll be right back after these few short commercial announcements. If you'd like to call in and talk with Dr. Norman Shealy, brain surgeon, Surgeon of the Year, author of way over 28 books, newsletters, you can call in at 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. Nancy from North Carolina, you're on with Dr. Norman Shealy.
Hi, Dr. Shealy.
Hello, Nancy.
Hi. I was in your Durham class when you were here in North Carolina.
Thank you.
My question to you is, I did many, many, many years of caretaking in my home for my mother. And when that was all done, I just could not get past the tiredness. I mean, it is still with me. I can't. I get into nausea. It's like I start out with nausea and I get just extremely tired. Then I just break out in a sweat, and then I get into chills. And it's the same process, and it happens several times a day.
How old are you, Nancy?
And now I'm starting to get problems with the lower part of my legs. The skin there is breaking out, and nobody can clear it. The dermatologist can't clear it. I've had acupuncture, and they don't clear it. But it's the nausea and the tiredness that's the worst.
Well, obviously, there are many, many possibilities. I'll tell you some things that are safe, that are worth trying. At the top of my list would be Air Bliss.
Okay.
Applied, probably in your case, twice a day for at least a week, and then at least once a day.
Okay.
Are you on vitamin D3?
Not right now. I've taken it in the past, but I don't have it now.
Well, 50,000 units once a week, absolutely crucial.
Okay.
I would get vitamin K2, 15 milligrams. You may have to get this from our website because it's not available in most places.
Okay.
15 milligrams once a day.
Okay.
Astaxanthin, Astaxanthin, 10 milligrams a day. My youth formula, 4 a day.
Youth formula, okay.
Iodoral once a week at least. And after a week or two of all that, if you're still not making a lot, magnesium lotion. Magnesium lotion, 2 teaspoons twice a day on the skin. And then after a week or so, if you're not making a lot of progress, I would get acetyl, acetyl, L-carnitine, 500 milligrams, and take 2 a day, and NAC, 600 milligrams twice a day. If that doesn't make a big difference in another week, I would get Nitro Extreme, NITROXTREME, and take 15 drops twice a day. All of these are sort of general energy, balancing approaches.
And that would also help with my skin?
I'm sorry?
That would also help with my skin?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The skin, after all, is the biggest organ in the body.
Right.
And it is highly affected by anything that affects the rest of the body as well.
Okay, let me make sure I have this. This Air Bliss twice a day for a week, and then once a day after that. Vitamin D3, 50,000 once a week. 50,000 units once a week. Vitamin K2 is 15 milligrams once a day. Astaxanthin, 10 milligrams a day. Youth Formula, 4 a day. Iterol, once a week?
Right.
Once a week? Is that a tablet?
Yeah, it's a little tablet.
Okay. Magnesium lotion, 2 teaspoons twice a day. And after that, what it was acetyl? What did you say? Acetyl?
Acetyl. L-carnitine.
L-carnitine, 500 milligrams twice a day. NAC, 600 milligrams twice a day. And Nitro Extreme, 15 drops, 15 drops twice a day.
Perfect.
Nancy, very quickly, you don't drink the magnesium lotion. You apply it on your skin.
Yeah, I've had your magnesium lotion. I've had that before.
Nancy, would you mind holding on? I have a question for you. Will you hold on through the
Yes,
break?
sir.
It'll be about 7 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd like to ask you about electromagnetic radiation in your surroundings. Dr. Shealy and I will be right back after top of the hour commercials and news.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Hour number 2, USAPrepares.com with Dr. Norman Shealy. I asked Nancy from North Carolina if she would hold for the through the top of the hour news and commercials, because she was explaining that she was tired, worn out, and Dr. Shealy had prescribed many things to help her. And Nancy, the reason I asked you to stay with us is I wanted to ask you if you are in an environment that has a lot of electromagnetic radiation. And by that I mean, do you live in an area that has transformers on power poles outside where you are and where you spend most of your time? Do you have a clock radio right next to your head on, near your bed? Do you have a wireless router in a room where you spend a lot of time?
Oh, yes. I work around computer equipment every day, and I have inside my clock beside my bed is atomic. So, and I do have a router in my house. It's not in my bedroom, but it's in the next bedroom. And you know what? Since Wi-Fi has come about, I have tinnitus in my ear, and it's gotten much worse since Wi-Fi has come about.
Okay.
I have all of those things. I work around the computers every day, their computer department, their equipment. I have that every day.
The very least that I
tell us.
recommend. Oops. I have one more recommendation, Nancy. Get yourself
Go ahead, Dr. Shealy.
the letter Q pendant. You can buy them at Amazon now, very cheap, $29, $30. Wear that every day. Get that clock 6 feet away from you. Put it up on a shelf on the opposite wall away from your bed.
Okay, because it's atomic.
It doesn't matter. It's a clock. It's electric.
Is this a battery-powered clock, or is this
it's electric. It plugs in.
Yeah, if it's an electric clock, it's putting out lots of stuff. You don't want that anywhere near your head.
Oh, okay.
So, Nancy,
and Wi-Fi, is there anything I should do about Wi-Fi?
Well, you don't want
Dr.
any
Shealy, do you want to
electric
do
stuff
that?
near you. You want to be a minimum of 3 feet, preferably 10 feet away from anything electrical.
Okay.
Nancy, stand by for just a second. I'd like to share something that I discovered when I was in Virginia for a couple of weeks. I'd like to share this with Dr. Shealy. This is on my list of things to discuss today. When I was staying with friends and family in Virginia, I was in a family room that had Wi-Fi right there in the family room, and the reason it was there is the cable company installed this Wi-Fi router where it was convenient to install it. And that is a room where people spend a lot of time. There was a kitchen area right off the family room, if you will. So it was like a long room, a family room area, a kitchen eating area, and a kitchen preparation area. All is like one big room. And in this room was the Wi-Fi router. And I was in the kitchen, and I felt kind of anxious, and I felt it bothered me. And I looked around. There it was. I am highly sensitive to electromagnetic radiation. So I asked the owner of the home if it would be okay if I moved it for everybody's safety into another room. So I moved it as far away as I could within that home and have it still work, which was in an unused room. I moved it to an unused room. And I'm here to tell you that I absolutely, positively felt a positive benefit from doing that. By getting that router out of that room, that cottony feeling, that headachy feeling that I had, that uptight, that anxious feeling that I had, went away within 30 minutes, and it stayed away. But I had it as long as I was in that room. And if I went into the room where I put the router, it came back. It came back. So the reason I was asking you about electromagnetic radiation was because when I was in Virginia, in that room, I felt lethargic, tired, worn out. I had no energy, no desire, no drive, no initiative. It turned me into a vegetable with a headache. I know I'm using strong terms, but Dr. Shealy, can you react to what I just said?
Well, of course. Electromagnetic energy is, at the very best, sapping of your life energy and inhibiting to your whole brain, depending upon what it is, of course, to some extent, and how far you are away from it. But one of the reasons, for instance, when I decided to retire from clinical practice, that instead of using my old clinic building for my research and education, I moved it and built one out on my farm, which got me away from the electromagnetic background in Springfield, Missouri, where the background 10 years ago was between 2.5 and 3 milligauss everywhere. Out on my farm, it's not measurable. And so I don't want my brain exposed to 3 milligauss a day or more.
Nancy, does that help you?
Oh, yes. But have you heard it affecting your ears?
Well, again, remember, hearing is also electromagnetic.
Yeah, it really affects my hearing. The Wi-Fi does.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. You know, all the things I've talked about could be of some help. You could also add Fire Bliss, because Fire plus Air daily over a period of 3 months can markedly help tinnitus.
Okay.
Nancy, do you use a cell phone?
I do. That's all I have. I don't have a house phone.
Get yourself a desk phone, Nancy. Get yourself a plain... And they're very expensive. Get one in your house. Get one at work. Don't use a cell phone all day. Very, 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 very bad for your brain and hearing.
Oh, okay.
Nancy, there's... and we're serious about this. I rarely use a cell phone, and if I do, I bought on eBay, it looks like a telephone handset, like an old-fashioned phone from the 1970s maybe, and it has a cord that plugs into the headphone, headphone and microphone jack on a cell phone. So if I have to use a cell phone, I keep it about 4 feet away from me, and I use this handset. Now, it's on a cord, so I now have a corded cell phone, okay? And that's how I use it. Or I use the speakerphone. Speakerphone as a last resort, this corded handset as my first choice if I have to use a cell phone. And they cost about $10 on eBay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you'll look at them, and sometimes they're called retro phones or retro headsets. I'll look it up during the next break, and I'll make the announcement as to what it is. But it was about $10. And I bought one for Christmas last year. I gave them out as Christmas presents because I wanted to make sure that anyone that I knew that was addicted to a cell phone would have this. Now, it's a nuisance. It's a nuisance to carry this thing because the cord and the handset is larger than the cell phone. But I'd like to ask Dr. Shealy to also talk about where people carry their cell phones. Dr. Shealy, men carry them in their front pockets, their shirt pockets.
I carry that in my purse.
Okay, well that's a good choice. But listen to what Dr. Shealy is going to say about where people carry them. Men typically carry them if they're wearing blue jeans or slacks or pants. They are going to have them in their front pocket. Dr. Shealy, what does that mean?
Well, it means that they are essentially radiating, and this is a form of radiation. They are radiating, among other things, their testicles, but also the bones in their thighs. So over a period of time, it can be kind of damaging. I don't like them. And by the way, even when they're turned off, if they're in your pocket, you put a hotel magnetic key in there, and before you can get to your room, the magnet will be erased. So a turned-off cell phone can not only erase the magnet on your room key, that's not good. By the way, they are called retro-style headphones. There are all kinds of them on the Internet.
Okay, there you go. So, Nancy, I'm so glad you called. I'm sorry you're having this problem, but I'm glad you're sharing this with others because I think you've done a lot of help here with Dr. Shealy's advice and counsel. Nancy, let me share this with you.
Okay.
And in the class. Cell phones are always transmitting. They send out a transmission, and then a couple seconds later, another one. Like, here I am. Where's the tower? Here I am. Where's the tower? Here I am. And they communicate back and forth to the cell phone towers. And this signal has to be powerful enough to go miles. So if this signal is in your pocket, it's traveling 360 degrees around the cell phone, so in all directions, because it doesn't know exactly where the tower is that it's trying to communicate with. So that being the case, it goes, let's say, 4 miles to the east, 4 miles to the north, 4 miles to the south, 4 miles to the west, okay? It travels pretty far. Now, when you have that signal next to your ear, it's transmitting that same distance, but if it's next to your ear, it's going right into your brain, right through your ear, okay?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's cooking your brain. Now, it's the same frequency, for the most part, as used by microwave ovens. So you are literally cooking your brain on low power, compared to a microwave oven. Now, let's talk about just some indications of how dangerous these things are. In the United Kingdom, if you have a cell phone and you walk past a recycling bin or a trash bin, it detects who you are. It knows exactly who you are. The trash bin is communicating with, and many of them, not all of them, but many of them, with your cell phone. And they know who you are because you have a unique telephone number. You're the only one that has your telephone number. No one else does. So if you're walking around with your cell phone, the trash bins know who you are. And in malls, they're tracking you with your cell phone, and they know who you are because of your telephone number. And you don't know it. No one's telling you that. So, Nancy, get a landline, okay?
Okay.
Hey, thanks so much for calling.
Thank you. I really appreciate your help.
Okay, bye-bye. Dr. Shealy and I will be right back. Dr. Norman Shealy's with us, and if you would like to contact Dr. Shealy or sign up for his free newsletter, comes out a couple times a week. Seriously, great, easy read, 30-second read, brilliant information. It will jog your memory to help you do the right thing and live better and healthier and longer. NormShealy.com, NormShealy. Norm as in Norman, Shealy, SHEALY.com. Let's see. Mary in Virginia, you are on with Dr. Norman Shealy.
Hi, Mary.
Hey, Dr. Shealy. How are you?
Wonderful. How about you?
Fantastic.
What can I do to help you?
Whereabouts were you in Alaska?
I'm sorry?
When you went to Alaska,
Uh-huh.
whereabout did you go?
Well, mostly in the Soldotna region, right in the center of the peninsula, the Kenai Peninsula.
How do you spell that?
Kenai.
Kenai. Yeah?
I flew into Anchorage. They got a little plane down to Kenai, which is 10 miles from Soldotna.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about a place to retire with my family one day, okay? You recommend that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not so sure. I love it in the summer.
Yeah.
I don't think I would like it in the winter. In the winter, I'd want to be in Homer.
Oh, Homer? Homer where?
Alaska. I mean, if I were going to be in Alaska, I would want to be in a Homer. It's the best place there. Otherwise.
Okay, what about in the winter?
Well, I personally, you'd be better off almost anywhere in the United States except the very northern tier in the winter. It's cold and dark.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I like that. Okay, second question, teen acne.
I'm sorry?
Teen acne.
Teen acne.
Yeah, my son has been going to this loo, and the doctors keep giving him antibiotics.
Yeah,
and I keep telling him, no, you can't do that. It's going to destroy your
probiotics. Lots of probiotics.
Probiotics, okay.
Plain Greek yogurt is the best.
Okay.
Or you can get the capsules. G as in George, R8, the number 8, Dophilus.
G8?
Yeah, G, George, Richard, GR8, Dophilus.
GR8, okay.
Dophilus, Dophilus.
Okay.
One of those with each meal could help. I would spray the face twice a day with Nixall, Nixall.
Nixall. Where do I get that?
You'll have to get it off the internet. It's made here in Nixa, Missouri. Avoid a lot of greasy foods.
Yeah, he doesn't eat any of that. He's like vegan almost, okay? I mean, he's done everything.
Yeah. Most
Okay.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Is he on D3?
No.
Okay, well, how old is he?
18.
Then I would put him on 50,000 units of vitamin D3 once a week.
50,000, okay.
And I'd put him on astaxanthine, ASTAXANTHIN, 10 milligrams a day.
And now what do I do to offset? Okay, he went to military doctors, okay? And all they did, my husband took them, all they did was put antibiotics in his body.
Yeah.
How do I offset what that has done to him?
Well, the probiotics are the best to overcome some of the negative effects of antibiotics.
Okay, probiotics. Okay. Got it. Thank you very much. Okay, now with Vince, okay? I live in Spotsylvania County. Okay? Hello?
I've heard of it.
No, Vince.
Yes.
Kick your butt. No, I live northwest out in the country, okay? And I get hummingbirds I could feed in my hand. And vultures eat the deer, the squirrels, everything else, out in our country.
You're in the
roads.
county.
No, we're
Yeah, I used to live in Virginia.
No.
Yeah, well,
we're really
I'm talking about
close to-
Fredericksburg.
No, we're in the county. We're outside in the country, okay?
I got it. Hey, Mary, we're going into a break. Hey, thanks for the call. Dr. Shealy and I will be right back. mentioned the retro phone handset, and I went to eBay during the break, and you can type in retro, R-E-T-R-O, space phone, space handset. They're available for $9.99 or less, with shipping included. Now, if you have an iPhone or a smartphone, make sure you get the one with the 4-conductor 3.5 millimeter connector. 4-conductor 3.5 millimeter connector. Okay, that's $9.99 or less. It's the retro phone handset if you want to do what I did. Okay. Also, there's a farm festival in Indiana. I just received an email from John Dollarhide. John Dollarhide and Judy Dollarhide will be going to this festival. And there's a post on the website, page 1, usaprepares.com. The government is targeting farmers. Mark Baker from Michigan's farm is being targeted. The Department of Natural Resources wants to kill his pigs. Actually, they want him to kill his pigs, and he isn't going to do it. And he's now facing about a $700,000 fine. The Dollarhide family will be there. I will be there. And some of the other usaprepares.com instructors will be there. Ken Hurley will be there. And here is what John Dollarhide said. Here's I'm going to read part of the post. He's saying, I'm contacting you and all of your listeners to tell you about a farm festival in Indiana that I would like to invite you to attend. We're trying to get people who have been a target of the government to come to this festival and tell their stories. Mark Baker from Michigan will be there to tell us about his case with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, who wants him to kill his pigs. My wife, that means John Dollarhide and Judy Dollarhide, have committed our lives to farmer freedom, and we will be there to tell our story of the $6.19 million fine that was levied against the Dollarhide family for raising rabbits by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And it goes on to say some of the other people who have been invited to attend this event. Now, the Farm Festival is September 14th. It's at the Seven Sons Farm in Indiana. As I said, I will be there. John Dollarhide will be there. Ken Hurley will be there. Judy Dollarhide and some other instructors from usaprepares.com. We are there to support farmers. Okay? And there's a link to this event on the website, page 1, usaprepares.com. The title of the post is Farm Festival in Indiana. Government targeting farmers. Mark Baker from Michigan. DNR wants to kill his pigs. usaprepares.com will be there. Please join us. That's the post. And if you'd like to contact John Dollarhide, I'll give you his phone number. 417-839-4385. 417-839-4835. Dr. Shealy, Mike from Tennessee. Mike from Tennessee, you're on with Dr. Norman Shealy and me, Vin Finelli.
Good morning, Vince and Dr. Finelli. I'm sorry, Dr. Shealy.
Hi.
I want to apologize for not making an opportunity to come by and introduce myself and meet you personally at the expo, but I did observe you for quite some time, and I was amazed at how that you just take responsibility, take charge, and wherever, whenever, stop and adjust and fix and counsel people, regardless of what's going on around you. You're a totally focused individual, and I so appreciate your ministry. And the reason I'm calling is, and everything is relative. I have a person I just found out yesterday. I sent them a canister of Tangy Tangerine, which is basically a vitamin and mineral supplement. Didn't know of their current medical shape and found out through email today that they have high blood pressure, and they were told by their lab coat-wearing doctor that none of this would help them, and actually it would hurt them to take this vitamin and mineral supplement while they had blood pressure medicine that they were taking, and that because they were going to be on this blood pressure medicine for life, they highly recommended them not taking it. Now, this is an older individual, I say older than me, about 74, and this individual does suffer from lab coat syndrome as well as powder butt syndrome. You're familiar with those?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so because this person now I discovered has email, I can copy and paste and forward your response to this person, what would you advise me to tell this individual?
Well, first of all, his doctor's stupid, but other than
I used the word moron in my response email, but that's close enough.
Idiot's a little bit worse, I think. But at any rate, first of all, I've only got a few of the reports back, but at the expo, of course, I was trying Nitro Extreme, which works unequivocally in 70% of people. So he could wean himself off probably with Nitro Extreme. The other thing that is working well is taurine, the amino acid taurine, Taurine, 5,000 milligrams a day. You can buy a bottle of, a big bottle that will last you 3 weeks with 5 a day. My youth formula, 4 a day, and my essentials multivitamin mineral, 2 a day. And we're getting good results with that. So it turns out that a lot of people are really deficient in a wide variety of essential nutrients, including magnesium, and magnesium lotion even can help some people. So, there are several possibilities, all of which, you just do slowly and find out what works. But I would give him about a 95% chance that he could do it with what I've already recommended. If that doesn't work, the final thing would be autogenic training. And you can get a CD of that called Basic Schultz, Schultz. And it takes more time. It takes 18 minutes a day. But all those things are good and safe.
And would they be able to get off their medicine immediately, or would they need to slowly?
No, slowly. Slowly. If they're on medication, you stay on, take one or one combination of these, either the Nitro Extreme or the other 3 things I mentioned, daily for at least a week, and then cut one medication in half for 1 week, and every week cut out another half medication as long as your blood pressure stays okay.
All right. Well, he is actually a she, and I don't know if it makes a difference, if there's a difference between ladies and gentlemen doing this.
No, it's going to be pretty much the same.
Okay.
Mike, I can tell you that I take Nitro Extreme. Dr. Shealy introduced it, or me to it, and a lot of our instructors are on Kyani Nitro Extreme, Kyani, and then it's Nitro XTREME. And if you need information about it, you can go to usaprepares.com, to the website. On the right-hand side, there's a link. You can click on it. It'll take you right to it. And you can buy it at a discount. And I suggest that if you are going to get it, you get it at a discount. My mom is taking it. Everyone in our family is taking it. Now, let me share this with you, Mike. I know you have some chickens. I just heard your rooster. We had a sick chicken, and she's pretty old. And her comb had turned light pink instead of, bright red. And I gave her Kyani Nitro Extreme, part of 1 drop, less than 1 drop, mixed with a little bit of Berkey water. And I just put it in a spoon, and I brought it up to her beak, and she drank it. And I gave her a greater and greater concentration up to the point where she got 1 drop per day of Kyani Nitro Extreme. And it reversed her. She was at death's door. And it reversed it. So now what we're doing is we have some cats that are really, really senior, and we are giving 1 drop of Kyani Nitro Extreme to these senior cats, and it's working for them too. So what I'm saying is, we've done this experimentation on the farm. I know it works for my mom. My mom is off almost every one of her medications. There's only one that she's on that, of all the ones that she had been prescribed by the lab coats. And she's doing fine, and I'm doing fine. And I take Kyani Nitro Extreme before every broadcast, and I take it before bedtime. And so does Mrs. Finelli, and so does my mom. So I think you ought to consider it. It is not. What was that term that Dan Swindell used? Snake oil? What did he? Jungle? No, your term, jungle juice, right, Dr. Shealy?
Right.
It's not.
And to me, the single most important thing is energy. it improves energy more than any other thing I know.
Mike, Mike from Tennessee. Mike Parsons is USA Prepares instructor. He's on the line with us. Mike, when Dr. Shealy did one of his events at one of our meetups at Ziggy's, we had an absolutely packed house. And we've told a story on the air. There was a lady who came in with very high blood pressure. I mean, she was slated to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. 214 over what, Dr. Shealy?
About
pretty high, right?
20 some odd, 25 maybe.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Okay. It was really bad. And she had a choice to go to the hospital right down the road from Ziggy's or come to meet Dr. Shealy. She chose to meet Dr. Shealy. Dr. Shealy had her blood pressure down from that to 158 over something within about 30 minutes. And then within 3 days, Dr. Shealy, you've reported that she was at normal blood pressure within 3 days. Is that am I reporting this correctly?
You are reporting it correctly.
Yeah. Now, it doesn't work for everybody, but for 70%, it works according to Dr. Shealy's findings. And these are independent findings. So I wanted to share that with you, Mike.
The important thing is that Dr. Shealy, for those that are conditioned to thinking only doctors with lab coats know best, Dr. Shealy is an actual doctor with how many years experience now?
Well, we're approaching 60.
So somewhat of an experience level that's beyond the norm, and with the voice of wisdom and maturity, obviously. I'm hoping that information that I was not able to impart was received here, and I'm grateful for you taking the time to take the call and share that, because I know this person does respect people that have gone through the training, and what I try to convey is that you went through all that traditional stuff, but you also learned to look at what works, and what I've discovered is what God gave us works, and the other stuff tends to have side effects. I don't know the side effects she's dealing with, but I know that they're putting her on something that is a management drug, lifelong required, and the things that I've heard other people use that are natural.
Mike, hold that thought. Mike, hold that thought. Class, we don't do this very often, but we've got 3 USAPrepares.com instructors here. Dr. Norman Shealy, medical doctors with us. Mike Parsons from Tennessee. I'm with you. And the reason I asked Mike to stay on the line, Mike, you're talking about high blood pressure, and I wanted to get Dr. Shealy's thoughts on this. Electromagnetic radiation and high blood pressure, electromagnetic radiation and heart disease, stroke, and stress. Dr. Shealy, could this be a component that, okay.
Stress is stress, and all of it contributes. Yeah, that's why I live on a farm.
Mike Parsons, you live on a farm. Do you think that this person that you're talking about, this 7-year-old, might be in an environment where there's electromagnetic radiation?
I know for a fact that she is. She does have a smart meter on her home, and somewhat stressful situation. Other than that, and I've tried to advise, but I'm out here right now working on my 10 horsepower combination lawnmower fertilizer spreader, and I'm brushing them off, and I can eliminate the stress in a matter of moments by getting back to what God's given me to keep me occupied, and getting away from the electromagnetic interference is not as easy for a lot of people, and times are coming to where there's going to be more and more of this with the Agenda 21 and all of the information that's coming out about silent weapons for quiet wars, where they're literally changing the mitochondria DNA via the pulse microwave radiation. Dr. Miller spoke of, and others have spoken of, and as this information comes about, people see that as far as yesterday, the city of Memphis, regardless of the outstanding opposition, the room was packed, they passed the smart meter initiative to where they're going to put smart meters throughout the entire Memphis light, gas, and water system, regardless of the opposition. They didn't care. And this is going to be affecting everyone. These meters are not UL approved. They do produce pulse microwave radiation, and there are a lot of people across the country where these have been installed that have been suffering.
Mike, we're going to have a
Shealy?
revolution before it's over. There's no question about it.
I'm afraid so.
Dr. Shealy, we had Jerry Day on, and he has produced documents on how you can contact and notify your utility company. You can put them on notice, and I will post those documents within the next day, so you'll be able to download them for free. Class, there's a bunch of them, about 4 of them. You'll be able to download them for free and put your utility company on notice that they will have to remove your electric meter or you will sue them. Dr. Shealy, the electromagnetic radiation that we are experiencing is really serious. We didn't have it back in the 1930s, the 1940s. We had power lines, but we didn't have the microwave radiation that we have. Would you consider this one of our most serious threats?
Second only to nuclear energy.
It's a pretty strong statement, Dr. Shealy. I agree with you. I absolutely, well, and then we have the food. But yes, and it's, where you are and where Mike Parsons is in Tennessee and where I am on my farm, we've all chosen to be away from electromagnetic radiation. I mean, that's why we live where we live. But not everybody has chosen that. And a lot of that is because not everybody realizes what a threat it is. Dr. Shealy, there's nothing that we can do to shield ourselves. Well, there are things we can do. I mean, we can wear helmets.
There is partially, and I did some experiments on this over 15 years ago. There's something called the letter Q pendant, and you can buy them on Amazon very inexpensively, and they do protect the brain from up to 50 milligauss of standard electromagnetic stuff. I mean, I wear one just because I travel so much and even when I'm sitting at my computer. So I do think everybody should consider something like that. It's the only one I know that's been tested.
Dr. Norman Shealy, thanks so much for being with us today. Mike Parsons from Tennessee, thanks so much for being with us today. Class, the threats out there are real. If you can, please share this broadcast with your friends and family to help protect them. If you can put it on YouTube, we'd certainly appreciate it. You can contact Norm Shealy, Dr. Norman Shealy at normshealy.com. normshealy.com. Get his newsletter. Please, I suggest you consider that. Above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you.
Is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival.